whitewater raft capsizes in Class 5 rapids, leaving one woman struggling for survival in the raging water.
Tell her to let go of the boat!
When she's sucked down and disappears under the raft, I am petrified.
Birch Ranch Gorge on the Trinity River in Northern California is a challenge to the most accomplished whitewater rafter. And commercial river guide John Lane is just that, an expert with more than 20 years experience.
There are days when you just feel invincible, your crew is firing on all cylinders. But every once in a while, you get this feeling that things just aren't happening right, or maybe there's just something inside you that worries a little bit.
On this day, it's not a commercial raft trip, but a group of guides and experienced boaters with high expectations of riding the big one. There are 4 rafts in the water, and each is approaching the most formidable rapid of the day, one with an 8-foot drop into a hydraulic, a hole that acts like a washing machine.
No matter how many times you've done this run, when you do Middle Bort Ranch Falls, you get a little apprehensive.
John Lane is out with his video camera that day and gets on top of the rocks to film the rafters coming through. As a precaution, a large team is standing on the banks of the river with throw rope on hand. One of them is Eric Nugturin.
In a Class 5 river, it's really something where the group you're with is probably the most important decision you can make, because they're really the ones that are there to save you if you make a big mistake.
The team has already surveyed the rapid, and now they're ready to tackle it.
First raft lines up nicely, raft goes over the waterfall, and then they come through that unscathed, and there's a big cheer.
And then the second raft had actually a really clean run and didn't have any trouble whatsoever. And then we get to the third raft.
The third raft isn't as lucky. It has trouble controlling its angle and crashes against the rocks, dumping one of the rafters into the river. But the crowd on the side is ready with throw rope and quickly helps him to safety.
And so that certainly didn't go unnoticed by the fourth raft. When they ran through, as the raft was lining up, everything looked good. They were maneuvering well.
And all we see is the boat just come over this falls and just stop. And it almost kind of stops vertically. Like it didn't hit the water and skip forward. It just kind of plugs into the water. And what we see is really scary.
The guide in the back lands on his head in the middle of the raft as the others use their oars to try to steer away from the powerful current. But the raft is effectively stuck, swirling around in the rapid.
That's when they start really having the ride of their lives. Now they have water that's coming over that 8-foot drop. It's creating kind of a bucking bronco ride. At the same time, the raft is spinning a 360. The river is generally going to control and dictate what happens at this point.
In a matter of seconds, the river spits the lead guide out of the raft and then flips the boat over, completely upside down. 3 of the rafters surface near the boat and are taken downstream and ultimately to safety. But 2 rafters are stuck in the hydraulic.
We have a man and a woman out there, and the guy is a football player, super burly guy, but he was probably one of the least experienced people on the team, and he was very scared. And there's nothing we can do out there because it's so far out there, and it's just so heartbreaking. So they both try and swim as hard as they can, and they don't go anywhere.
Finally, the man lets go of the raft and floats downstream where the rescue ropes will pull him to shore. But the woman, Naomi, a river guide herself, is hanging onto the side of the raft. Eric Nugturin is particularly worried. Naomi is his girlfriend at the time.
If you want to figure out a way to drown, that's it. Because you get a little bit of air, you get shoved to the bottom of the river, and then you come up. And that's the most frightening part is we know she's getting tired. We've seen her swimming, and she's tried to swim away from this raft a number of times, and she just gets sucked right back to it.
Let go of the boat!
John Lane screams to her to let go of the boat. They need her to go downstream if there's going to be any chance of saving her. Finally, Naomi lets go of the boat, and then she disappears into the white froth.
And I just wait, and I watched, and nothing came up. And then about 40 feet past me, all of a sudden she pops back up in the water. And at that point, she's moving so fast and she's gone so far past me that I can't even throw my rope.
Naomi surfaces far beyond the last person standing on the riverbanks with throw rope, and everyone knows they have to act now. Only 50 yards downstream is another set of dangerous rapids and a huge drop. Naomi, who has taken a beating in the cold water, has little left in her.
She's not swimming like any of the other people who came out. They swam like hell. So she has no energy left, and she just rolled like a rag doll, and it was really frightening to watch because that's a person who's really almost unable to save themselves now.
It's going to take an incredible throw to save her.
The chances of that last guy being able to throw that bag and hit her with a throw that she could grab was 1,000,000 to 1. But the guy threw that safety bag. I've never seen a throw that accurate that far. I mean, it was a 60-foot throw that hit her between the eyes.
It's the lifeline that saves Naomi, and everyone is relieved, and then wondering.
It's probably only maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes before the first person was like, "Did you get all that on film?" And of course, you know, in my 20 years plus of boating, it is the most spectacular whitewater wipeout I've ever seen.
I've showed the video to people and they say, "God, how can this cameraman be doing that?" And I always laugh because we all go, how could he not? We had figured out everybody's job. We had everything covered as much as we could. But even just watching the tape for the first time in a long time, it just brought chills because it could have gone much worse. Thankfully, it did.